Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel and I hope that you all must be doing great. So आज के ना से start करते हैं for 20th of September. So as we are seeing every day, special session of the parliament start हो चुका है and this is going to mark the first sitting in the new parliamentary building as well, and also it is marking the 75 years of the journey of the Indian parliament. So we see that first session जो new parliamentary building में हुआ है, that is marked again women led development पे बात की गई. We have introduced the women's quota bill in the Lok Sabha with this, and Prime Minister has called for a consensus over this bill. So when we talk about going into the again conceptual things and the factual details related to this bill, so this forms the part of 128th Amendment Bill 2023. This has been introduced. However, when we go to the implementation, it will be only implemented after the 2026 में जो delimitation exercise होगी using that data from the census जो conduct किया जाएगा. So only after that इसको implement किया जा सकता है, and उसके साथ साथ this will be in force for 15 years. जो अभी current bill है उसके जो अगर हम provisions की बात करें तो once it gets implemented, so it is going to remain in force for 15 years. उसके अलावा जब हम बात करते हैं, so it is going to ensure 1/3 representation, or in percentage terms 33% of reservation to the women candidates, to women MPs. and उसमें भी एक और सब categorization है, सब reservation की बात की जाती है कि जो SC ST women है उनको 33% कोटा के अंदर और 33% reservation दी जाएगी. So इसके अराउंड कुछ basically these are the points of debates कि whether सब reservation required है कि नहीं, क्योंकि when we talk about overall women reservation 33% का जो कोटा उनके लिए सेट किया जाएगा, उसके अंदर फर्दर हम क्यों डिफरेंशिएट कर रहे हैं विद इन इवन द वुमेन कैटेगरी ऑल्सो कि SC ST वुमेन के लिए सेपरेटली एक रिजर्वेशन होनी चाहिए. सो अगेन उसमें भी कुछ पॉजिटिव्स एंड नेगेटिव नुआंसेस हैं व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट द डिबेट अराउंड दिस one particular feature. Then India-Canada relations, why we are seeing basically what is the major roadblock जो अभी देखने को मिल रहा है. So we are seeing कि India it is denied any role in the Nijar's killing. So again खालिस्तान का जो issue है, this has been point of concern between India and Canada. So Justin Trudeau, he alleged involvement of India in the killing of this खालिस्तानी separatist leader जो कि obviously Canada में मारा गया है. न्यू दिल्ली का कहना ये है कि unsubstantiated allegations अगर ऐसे इंडिया के ऊपर लगाए जाएंगे तो this is going to shift the focus from the terrorists provided shelter in the Canada. So instead of Canada taking actions, merely again putting allegations that to unsubstantiated allegations over India. So this is not going to solve things. This is not a solution. And at the same time, US is also deeply concerned about this particular issue. So yesterday we saw कि 3 Hoysala temples, they have been declared as a World Heritage Sites. So the architecture becomes important. Now they are again different types of plans are there जिसके basis पे पूरा temple architecture बनाया जाता है. So the Hoysala temples, they are based on the stellate plan, मतलब star shaped plan के ऊपर foundations lay की जाती है, उसके ऊपर पूरा एक temple construct किया जाता है. So this will bring global recognition with the prospects of increased in the tourism at Belur, Helabid and Somanathpur in Karnataka. So these are located in Karnataka. Apart from this, soft stone use किया जाता है to construct these temples. अगर आप again यहाँ पे engravings की बात करोगे, जो designs draw किए गए sculptural designs, so that is possible because of again the nature of the stone that is being used to construct these temples, that is soft stone has been used. So 3 temples, this we saw yesterday also. Channakeshwara temple is at Belur, Hoysaleshwara temple at Halabid, and then we have the Keshava temple at Somnathpur in Mysuru district. So these, they have again got the UNESCO World Heritage Site status and they are 42nd on the list, and recently we also saw that Shantiniketan also gets on this list. So we have this International Commission on Monuments and Sites, जो again they visit such types of sites जो nomination list पे हैं, and then accordingly assess things and declare the final decision. तो कैन सी कि यहाँ पे मेंशन्ड है स्टेलेट प्लान के ऊपर बनाया गया है पूरा आर्किटेक्चर जो बेस्ड है, सॉफ्ट स्टोन यूज किया है, दी इसको हम बोलते हैं फ्लोरीट शिस्ट स्टोन, ऑल्सो कॉमन लैंग्वेज में सॉफ्ट स्टोन, बिकॉज दे आर सॉफ्ट एंड एमिएबल टू कार्विंग्स. सो यू कैन सी यहाँ पे पिक्चर में दी चिन्नकेश्वर टेम्पल एट बेलूर, एंड आपको दिख सकती हैं इंट्रिकेटली डिजाइंड स्कल्पचर्स ऑन दी वॉल्स ऑन द स्टोन्स. Again, when we talk about the river water sharing disputes, one of the prominent ones has been the Kaveri water issue. So Kaveri Water Management Authority बनाई गई so that we could solve this issue. But again, उसके बाद भी we are seeing things are not going in the desired direction. Still, जो concerns हैं, again जो एक टारगेट लेवल सेट किया जाता है कि इतना क्वांटिटी शुड गो टू तमिलनाडु, इतना शुड रिमेन विद कर्नाटका, उन चीजों के साथ अगेन उनको इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं किया जा रहा है, बिकॉज अगेन यहाँ पे कर्नाटका एक अपर अपेरेंट स्टेट है, तो इट इन अ वे इट ब्लॉक्स दी वाटर अगेन, क्योंकि यहाँ पे और भी इंपॉर्टेंट फैक्टर्स हैं विच आर एट प्ले, लाइक सपोज वीकर मानसून है तो पहले कर्नाटका इंश्योर करेगा कि वो अपनी स्टेट के डिमांड्स को फुलफिल करने के लिए इतना वाटर उनके पास होना चाहिए, देन ओनली दे विल बी thinking about the other states. So in a way, herein we can also talk about cooperative federalism. It can also play an important role when we again talk about relations between state and state. And again, this process needs more transparency. Again, the role of people becomes important. And the history of this Kaveri dispute, it shows that the people at the helm of the affairs who have not risen to the occasion to resolve this problem. So we don't have any kind of a permanent solution for these types of issues that are there. And again, this is an important topic even from the perspective of internal security as well. So NASA shifts the UFO debate from sensationalism to science. So again, scientific based study जाएंगी, and NASA's recent initiative to systematically scrutinize UFO sightings, that is a step in the right direction. But again, किस तरीके से ये किया जा रहा है, तो यहाँ पे it is clearly visible from sensationalism to science. This is clearly evident. So here we have the data also कि it is collated from the National UFO Reporting Center and All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. So latest claim ये है कि जो one of the specimens which are presented to the Mexico's Congress earlier this week. This is a picture from there. So this chart one is showing the number of self-reported observations recorded in this, the database official data by United States. You can see maximum have been reported from US. Then we have Canada, UK, Australia, and even India is also there. Then altitude wise also we have the data. So we have seen again maximum have been reported at the altitude of 20,000 feet. So NASA is going to take this thing forward. Simultaneous polls, do states have a say in this thing or not? Again, जब हम बात करते हैं implementing this idea, so again this is going to change the federal setup. So again, definitely states do have a role when we talk about कि obviously constitutional amendments हमें करने पड़ेंगे, so उसमें definitely states का important role है. So constitution again, अब बिल्कुल basic चीजों के बारे में अगर हम यहाँ सोचेंगे, सबसे पहले कि constitution amend कैसे किया जाता है, difference क्या है between the different procedures for amending the provisions in the Indian Constitution. Then क्या जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट्स भी हैं, कैन दे बी ऑल्सो स्ट्रक डाउन फॉर वांट ऑफ ratification by the states? And then fourth angle is there a time limit that has been prescribed for this ratification? जब हमें states की ratification required होती है, तो उस पे भी क्या कोई time limit है या नहीं? So we are going to understand all these four dimensions regarding amending the constitution. So which articles deal with the process of amendment of the constitution? So we know Article 368, it talks about the procedure to amend the constitution of India. So तीन different procedures हैं through which हम constitution को amend कर सकते हैं using different majorities that we have. So the first process or the method is using a simple majority of the people which are present and voting in each house of the parliament. So that is basically कुछ ऐसे provisions रहते हैं constitution में जिनको हम simple majority के through अमेंड कर सकते हैं. लाइक ऑर्डिनरी लेजिस्लेशंस जो होते हैं जिनको पास किया जाता है, देयर पास थ्रू सिंपल मेजॉरिटी. एंड अगेन इस केस में हमें कोई ऐसा स्पेसिफिक कोरम रिक्वायर्ड नहीं होता है. सो here in examples like amendment contemplated in Article 4. So Article 4 relates to changes related to organization of the state. So it can be amended through simple majority. Article 169, abolition or creation of the legislative councils in the states, even that is amended through simple majority. Now again कुछ ऐसे provisions भी हैं constitution में जिनको amend करने के लिए again simple majority नहीं, but again we require special majority. So again special majority मतलब we need not less than 2/3 of the members which are present and voting in the house, at the same time majority of the total membership of the each house. तो जब ये दोनों conditions meet हो जाती है, then we say कि special majority has been achieved and we can again go ahead with the required amendment of the constitution. थर्ड कैटेगरी इज विच रिक्वायर्स बोथ द मेजोरिटीज, मतलब स्पेशल मेजोरिटी भी पास होनी चाहिए एंड वी रिक्वायर रैटिफिकेशन बाय एटलीस्ट हाफ ऑफ द स्टेट लेजिस्लेचर्स. तो ये थर्ड कैटेगरी में वी सी कि रोल ऑफ स्टेट्स इज इम्पोर्टेंट. तो अब ऐसे कौन से ऐसे प्रोविजंस हैं जहाँ पे हमें ये थर्ड मेथड की जरूरत पड़ती है? तो जब भी हम बोलते हैं ऐसी कोई अमेंडमेंट which will be changing the federal feature of the constitution, then we require this third method. And again कोई specific time limit नहीं है which has been set by the constitution for this ratification by the state legislatures. As soon as possible we meet the target of the half of the state legislatures giving their assent, we qualify this condition. क्वेश्चन यही आता है कि कौन सी ऐसी अमेंडमेंट्स हैं जहाँ पे अगेन हमें स्टेट्स की रैटिफिकेशन रिक्वायर्ड है. तो एज आई जस्ट टोल्ड यू द अमेंडमेंट्स व्हिच वुड बी चेंजिंग अगेन द फेडरल स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. सो उनको हम अगेन कॉमनली बोलते हैं एज द एंट्रेंच्ड प्रोविजंस एंड दे आर एज फॉलोज. फॉर लाइक एग्जांपल्स की अगर हम बात करें, इफ देयर इज अ चेंज इन द प्रोविजन रिगार्डिंग इलेक्शंस to the post of the president of India, which is Article 54 and Article 55. So अगर हमें ये दो articles को amend करना है, तो again state ratification would be required. When we talk about the change in the extent of the executive powers of the union or the state governments, Article 73, 162, then changes in the provision regarding the judiciary and the high courts, ये भी कहीं ना कहीं जो हमारा federal structure है उसको चेंज करने की बात की जा रही है, उसमें अमेंडमेंट्स करने की बात की जा रही है. अगर 7th शेड्यूल में कुछ चेंज करना है, क्योंकि 7th शेड्यूल में अगेन इट टॉक्स अबाउट द डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ पावर्स बिटवीन द थ्री ऑर्गन्स, और हम बोल सकते हैं सेपरेशन ऑफ पावर्स. सो इफ दिस इज टू बी अमेंडेड, द स्टेट रैटिफिकेशन बिकम्स इम्पोर्टेंट. So for example, जो GST law था, that also required the ratification by more than half of the state legislatures, because that is also changing, that involved changing the tax structure, and obviously that becomes an important part of the Indian Federation. So when we talk about the debates around this entrenched provisions or the federal structure of the constitution को जब amend करने की बात की जाती है, initially when we say कि constituent assembly में इससे regarding किस तरीके से debates हुए, कौन सी personalities ने क्या points put up किए, तो herein we see कि Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, he was also in favor कि states ratification for the amendment of certain constitution provisions जिनकी वजह से federal structure of the constitution it again would be changed, वहां पे state ratification required है, so he favored this thing. And apart from this इसके around debate गया, so even Dr. Ambedkar he cautioned कि permitting all the constitutional amendments to take place by simple majority, that is also going to defeat the principle of separation of powers among the three organs of the state as well. So simple majority के through सिर्फ एक ही process के through ही हम पूरे constitution को या जो भी required amendments है उसको सिर्फ एक ही method से amendment करना would be again leading to the violation of the principle of separation of powers. So these were the arguments put forward by him. क्वेश्चन आता है कि जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट्स सपोज कर दी जाती हैं, दे आर अगेन जो कंप्लीट प्रोसेस है, वी गो थ्रू दैट एंड वी फाइनली अचीव द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट. सो क्या हम उनको स्ट्राइक डाउन कर सकते हैं अगर if it is not ratified by the state? So यहाँ पे we have one of the most important judicial cases known as the Quijotto-Holohan case of 1992, which is also popularly known as the anti-defection case. So यहाँ पे भी constitutional validity जो 10th schedule talks about anti-defection, which is again brought through the 52nd Amendment Act of 1985. इसको challenge किया गया था on the grounds कि जो amendment किया गया वो states ने ratify नहीं किया, इसलिए उसको strike down कर देना जाना चाहिए and the amendment shouldn't hold true. So जो again बात करते हैं जो debate हुआ उसके around, so the 10th schedule was to deal with the defection. So it was purported to oust the jurisdiction of all the courts by virtue of paragraph 7. So amendment जो again उस time पे लेके आएगी about the changes with respect to the jurisdiction, the Supreme Court and the High Courts. One of the provisions was कि it required ratification by half the state. So Constitution bench जो Supreme Court का था, it upheld validity of the 10th schedule but declared कि जो paragraph 7 है the schedule that is invalid for the want of ratification. So पूरे amendment को strike down नहीं किया गया, only paragraph 7 जहाँ पे it was felt कि ratification of states was required but वो नहीं किया गया, so इसकी वजह से paragraph 7 को strike down कर दिया गया, it was held invalid. Apart from this जो overall अगर हम बात करें anti-defection law की, तो that was upheld by the Supreme Court in this case. Then 2021 में there was another case of Union of India versus the Rajendra N. Shah, where the Supreme Court it struck down the provisions of the Constitution's 97th Amendment Act 2011 to the extent that it introduced Part 9B in the Constitution to deal with the cooperative societies. So Part 9B of the Constitution talks about cooperative societies. So court unanimously held कि जो amendment था it required ratification by at least half of the state legislatures as per this Article 368 clause to the Constitution, since it dealt with an exclusive state subject also. So exclusive state subject क्या था? Entry 32, which falls under list to the 7th schedule. So again, अगर 7th schedule को amend करना है तो state ratification is important. एंड अगेन पार्ट 9B के अब हम ऑपरेशन की अगर हम बात करते हैं तो जो मेजॉरिटी जजमेंट थी इट इन्वोक्ड द डॉक्ट्रीन ऑफ सिवरेबिलिटी. सो प्लीज नोट दिस डाउन, दिस इज एन इम्पोर्टेंट part, doctrine of severability, to make this part 9B operative only insofar as it concerns the multi-state cooperative societies. So it does not deals with now cooperative societies, it holds valid when we talk about multi-state cooperative societies. So law commission के क्या view है, क्या recommendations हैं over this issue? So 2018 में law commission of India chaired by Justice B.S. Chauhan, उन्होंने एक draft report release किया जिसमें they stipulated कि simultaneous elections they are not feasible within the existing framework of the constitution. So इससे हमें क्या clear होता है कि अगर simultaneous elections के idea को हमें implement करना है, we want this thing to get functional in India, so we need certain constitutional amendments for that to be done. So this was one part of the recommendations the law commission, and उन्होंने ये भी suggest किया कि एक appropriate amendment के लिए we need to अगेन क्या अमेंड करना है, तो उसमें बात की गई आरपीए 1951 रूल्स प्रोसीजर ऑफ द लोकसभा स्टेट असेंबलीज, इनको अमेंड करने की हमें जरूरत पड़ेगी. सो पूरा डिबेट अराउंड द साइमल्टेनियस इलेक्शंस एक अलग टॉपिक है. सो वहां पे भी पॉइंट्स इन फेवर एंड पॉइंट्स इन अगेंस्ट द साइमल्टेनियस इलेक्शंस दे बिकम इम्पोर्टेंट. तो ये भी बोला जाता है कि साइमल्टेनियस इलेक्शंस अगर वी गो फॉरवर्ड विद दिस आइडिया, तो कहीं ना कहीं इट वुड ऑल्सो लीड टू कॉन्सेंट्रेशन द पावर इन द हैंड्स ऑफ द यूनियन. बिकॉज जब इलेक्शंस किए जाएंगे तो जो मेन मुद्दे इम्पोर्टेंट मुद्दे रहेंगे वो अगेन नेशनल इम्पोर्टेंस से रिलेटेड मुद्दों को ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंस दी जाएगी, ज्यादा अगेन उनको डिस्कस किया जाएगा. दे वुड रिमेन इन द लाइमलाइट इंस्टेड ऑफ जो लोकल लेवल इश्यूज भी हैं. वी कांट से कि नेशनल लेवल पे जो इश्यूज हैं वो इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं है, बट एट द सेम टाइम जो लोकल लेवल पे इश्यूज हैं वो भी इम्पोर्टेंट है. देन ओनली वी कैन से कि इवन जो अगर हम लोकल लेवल के इश्यूज को एड्रेस कर पाएंगे तो कहीं ना कहीं जो नेशनल लेवल पे जो इश्यूज हैं वो भी वहां पे भी हमें कहीं ना कहीं पॉजिटिव इम्पैक्ट देखने को मिलेगा. सो दैट इज वन ऑफ द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट काउंटर पॉइंट्स अगेंस्ट द साइमल्टेनियस इलेक्शंस. So there's a need to expand our understanding of the nature. So environmental humanities is one of the important domains that needs to be explored given the requirement, the needs of the time, because of the climate change impacts that we are dealing with, we are going through. We are again losing thousands and lakhs of lives because of that. Be it you talk about the flash floods in Libya, or you talk about even the earthquake in Morocco, although it is not directly related to climate change, or when we talk about the heat wave in Australia and even in India in the hilly states, and talk about flash floods, torrential rains, cloud bursts, landslides, so dealing with that. So for that, it is important we need to develop that understanding of nature, how nature functions, and again, what can be the implications if we are not in sync with how nature functions. And again, if our greeds overpower our needs, so the implications or the things that we'll have to go through, the number of disasters that we'll have to go through, and the expected losses can be huge. So by incorporating the narratives about interplay between nature and the diverse communities, so you need to know those the key phrases: interplay between nature and the diverse communities through stories of rivers, landscapes, plants, and animals. Again, this needs to be part of even the school curriculum, and even when we talk about different awareness generation campaigns, again, we can leverage here the social media platforms also. So we need to again make the communities aware about, we need to develop a perspective around all this thing, the ecological wisdom, conventional notions of nature that should be re-evaluated. So how again nation and the nature, they are linked, they are interlinked. So they are intrinsically connected to the society and culture as well. So nation is seen through the lens of nature, ecology, or as a sense of place. So there are two dominant understandings of a nation. The first one is again, आप nation को consider कर सकते हो as a one place where nature is universal to its citizens as an ecological reality. And the second understanding goes beyond the unitary sense of the nation or the nationalism, and you again find multiple perspectives. जिस तरीके से आप nation को define कर सकते हो with the connection to nature as affiliation to a piece of land or to its people, जिनके पास again we have cultural diversity, various cultural identities. So symbolism of gender justice, gender equality ushers in the new era of parliament. So as we just talked about in the very beginning about taking up the women-led development is the main agenda during the first session of the new parliament. When we are beginning a new era of the parliament again, we can say that it marks the beginning of new era of Indian democracy as well, Indian economic growth and development. So we started with the women-led development. So हमने बात करी थी starting में delayed census, it will push back the women's quota as well. So we need to again hush up things here as well, but again in the desired manner. We can't compromise with the quality and the quantity of the data, or in the manner in which census would be carried out. Although we know we are very again we've delayed things a lot, but now we need to ensure that it needs to be done in a proper and a quick manner. So developments in the world of science कि अगर हम बात करें specifically indigenous क्या developments रही India में in the field of science, so that is important. So we are again May 11th is celebrated as the National Technology Day. So Center floats new science awards. So we are having certain new awards, which are Rashtriya Vigyan Puraskar, where we'll be having 3 Vigyan Ratnas. 25 Vigyan Shri would be awarded, 25 Vigyan Yuva Shanti Swaroop Bhatnagar Award, and 3 Vigyan Team Awards. So winners, they will be announced every year on 11th of May when we celebrate the National Technology Day. So these Rashtriya Vigyan Puraskar, it will be facilitating scientists, technologists, and innovators. So the areas that would be awarded or the new developments that would be awarded, they would again naturally become important for us. So Aditya L1 mission, so far it has been successful and it heads towards the L1 point. L1 point pe, again, we need to know the reason ki why we want to put it at the L1 point, because wahan se we'll not be having any kind of obstructions. We can again constantly watch, we can constant monitor things from that particular point, and that is the main benefit of it. L1 point, it lies on the sun-earth line at about 1.5 million kilometers from the earth, and it's approximately 1% of the earth-sun distance. So अगर बाकी सारे भी जो L1 points है, basically Lagrange points है, तो there's L1, L2, L3, L4 and L5. So basically for two gravitational systems, these Lagrange points, they ये एक ऐसी टाइप की लोकेशन होती है in space where small object tends to stay अगर उसको उस Lagrange किसी भी Lagrange position पे place किया जाता है. So there are a total of 5 such points between Earth and Sun system. Again, these are named as L1, L2, L3, L4 and L5. So यहाँ पे diagram में भी आप उनकी location देख सकते हो. This is going to be the Aditya L1 would be placed here. L1, we have L3 over here, L5, L2 is here, L4 is here. So WHO ने एक report release करी है which talks about global impact of high blood pressure and how we can again beat this thing. That is much more important for us to know. So firstly, we need to know कि क्या impact है and कैसे again we are going to deal with it. So approximately 4 of every 5 people with hypertension, they are not adequately treated, but other countries, they scale up the coverage so we can prevent 76 million deaths between 2023 and 2050, according to a WHO report. So hypertension, it is also one of the most important risk factor for death and disability in India as well. Agar we go by the findings of the Lancet report, regional health, which was published late last year, we see that it adds that less than 1/4 of the hypertensive patients in India, they had their blood pressure under control during 2016 and 2020. And it has also improved from the previous year figures as well. And then we go about the NFHS 5 data. This also reported hypertension prevalence of 24% in men, 21% amongst the women, and there is an increase from 19% and 17% respectively. So we are having a large-scale hypertension intervention, under the National Health Mission also. So it has been recognized for its positive work done within the primary healthcare system. So again, when we talk about the rising number of the non-communicable diseases, the role of primary healthcare system becomes extremely important in directly addressing these issues. So we are having the National Health Mission to address these, and definitely it covers the hypertension as well. And obviously it is impacting the adults, so in a way it is impacting their quality of work as well. It would be obviously impacting the pace at which our economy would be growing and developing. And with this we can say that mental health is also linked to it. So even the policy to deal with the mental health issues, that is also important. So all these things, they need to work in a proper synergetic manner so that we get the best results. So, what are the ways to again deal and beat hypertension, high blood pressure? So, we see that the world in the organization states where lifestyle changes are happening, that to such a higher pace. We need to shift to eating healthier diet. We need to quit tobacco. We need to be more active. We need to again exercise every day at least for 45 minutes. You can go for a walk, or again, as you like, the way you want to exercise, you can do that, but it's important to exercise every single day. We need to be again, all these things, they can help us in lowering other blood pressures. And the best thing is to stay cheerful, to stay happy. So prevention, early detection, and effective management of hypertension, these are among the most cost effective interventions in the healthcare. And again, these needs to be prioritized at the same time. So prevention, early detection, and effective management. These are the keywords. So again, crude oil prices touches 10-month high because of the supply side concerns. So these are the factors which are not in the control of India. So इसकी वजह से जो मेन एरिया ऑफ कंसर्न हमारे लिए है, द बीओपी इंक्रीज, हमारा करंट अकाउंट डेफिसिट इंक्रीज हो जाता है. मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंटली वी इम्पोर्ट द इन्फ्लेशन बिकॉज ऑफ higher prices of the crude oil. So इसके लिए what India can do in short term and in the long run. So herein we can see कि काफी टाइम से even specifically post the beginning of the Russia-Ukraine war, इंडिया को इस वॉर की वजह से एक मेजर बेनिफिट यही हुआ है कि वी स्टार्टेड इम्पोर्टिंग the discounted crude oil from Russia. So that has been one of the short-term measures through which we can say that we had in a way prevented or we have in a way like prevented the imported inflation specifically through the crude oil. Apart from this, long term, we have been talking about the green energy transition. So that is definitely going to play an impactful role over the long term. So building an ethical model of artificial intelligence usage is an important, very important domain. As we are seeing, we can't completely ignore the usage of artificial intelligence. So that's why ethical usage is very, very important. For what purpose you're going to use it, what is your intention behind using artificial intelligence, that makes all the difference. Russia hails China's position on US and Ukraine. So we're seeing here specifically after the beginning of this Ukraine war, the closeness between Russia and China has increased. So again, this has become another kind of threat to global peace and stability. And in here you can see clearly Biden asked the world to stand up to Russia's naked aggression. Then Azerbaijan launches the operation in Karabakh region. So this is an important location which is there in news. And again, such types of locations which are in news, the places which are in news internationally, these are often asked in the prelims examination as well. So the operation that has been launched in the Karabakh region, they vow to fight until the end. So Azerbaijan, again, from even from the perspective of map work, we need to locate Azerbaijan. Where is exactly Karabakh region located there? So there are a lot of, again, Armenian forces which are there in the Nagorno-Karabakh region in Azerbaijan. So military operation launched kiya gaya against the breakaway Nagorno-Karabakh region, warning it would continue until the end in the territory over which it has fought two wars with neighboring Armenia. So Armenia and Azerbaijan basically having the, again, territorial claims over this Nagorno-Karabakh region. Coming to Financial Express newspaper, let's see the newer topics that we've not discussed so far. So women power, be it policy, be it leadership, India's women power has proved that they are no less than anyone in any field. The Modi government believes that building a strong and self-reliant India is not possible without the support and strength of women power. So definitely it is showing a strategic shift when we talk about the changing perception about the role of women in a country, or you can say in a society, in the economy, in business, in leadership, in politics, in policy making, so even in the defense forces. So we are seeing massive change in the mindset, in the behavior that we have. So when we talk about the role of the cooperative bank, specifically when we again working the local level, specifically in again the rural areas, their contribution for the agricultural development is also very important because they play an important role they should play an important role when it comes to easy credit availability for the farmers. But the problem is that they are having low farm loan share, so their share needs to increase. So again, for here, we need to understand what are the problems that they are facing in order to increase their share in the farm loans that they're dispersing. So despite they have a larger share in the Kisan credit card accounts compared with the scheduled commercial banks, despite that, they're not having sufficient amount of or the amount of share that they should have in the farm loans that they need to disperse. So sanction amount जो है, it varies significantly. It is very interesting correlation, or we can say absence of correlation. So it is important to understand what causes this differences between scheduled commercial banks loan sanctioning and जो cooperative banks का process of loan sanctioning. So we need to analyze this area. Right now, we don't have clarity about how things stand right now at this front. The difference between the process of sanctioning loans by these two different types of banks. सो एक और जो प्रॉब्लम है जिसकी वजह से फार्म लोन शेयर जो कोऑपरेटिव बैंक्स का दैट इज एट लोअर लेवल इज बिकॉज जो साइज ऑफ द फार्म लोन्स ये ऑफर करते हैं ये बहुत छोटा अमाउंट होता है compared to the commercial banks jitna amount offer karte. So that is also one of the reasons why they do not enjoy a larger farm share. So you can see the pictures from the special session of the parliament being conducting in the new parliamentary building. So new age parliament, you can see different pictures. So the Commission for Agricultural Cost and Prices. it's important when we talk about the decision making when it comes to the MSP prices. So they, in a way, they propose the MSP price. So they have suggested increase in the area under the pulses, differential payment systems for the oil seeds, and they've proposed 8% hike for the wheat MSP. Now, again, final decisions lie in the hand of cabinet to consider the the Rabi MSPs in the month of October. Coming to Indian Express newspapers, who talked about women's bill, certain important provisions where we need to debate about India-Canada relations. What is the main problem? This we have taken up. We have also talked about the WHO report about the hypertension. So only 37% Indians with high BP, they've been diagnosed. 30% they are getting the treatment. So India में 31% of our population is affected. So obviously, it would be affecting the demographic dividend advantage that we enjoy. So we have the comparison at the India level and the global. So diagnosed number of cases India में 37% है, global level पे 54%. Treatment में 30% are under treatment, 42% global level पे, and controlled 15% and 20% the global level respectively. So when we compare कि hypertension ज़्यादा males में देखी जा रही है कि females में, so it is we are seeing कि global level में मेल्स में ज्यादा है, इंडिया के लेवल में भी मेन्स पे ज्यादा, ऑल्दो इतना ज्यादा डिफरेंस नहीं है दोनों के बीच में. सो दैट्स देयर. Coming to the explained section, so highest percentage of women in the parliaments of democracies global level पे जब हम compare करते हैं women representation in the parliaments, so percentage we see maximum 50% Mexico and New Zealand में है. Then we have 46% के around in countries like Sweden, Norway, Finland, 44% Argentina, Spain, Denmark. India में it is at only 14.4%. So definitely it clearly indicates, even Pakistan की आप बात करोगे तो that is at 20.5%, which is higher than India. So again, we need to definitely ensure the increase in the women representation in the parliament, not just parliament, even in state assemblies as well, and not just in politics, in other domains also. So यहाँ पे भी women reservation bill के बारे में we have this dedicated article. A bill is a promise. Its fulfillment must await the delimitation exercise, which itself is contingent on the completion of the census. So again, बिल पास कर दिया जाएगा, एक्ट एक लॉ बन जाएगा, बट अगेन उसको फुलफिल करने के लिए वी नीड टू कैरी आउट द डिलिमिटेशन एक्सरसाइज जो 2026 में की जाएगी. वो तब भी पॉसिबल होगी जब हम सेंसस कंप्लीट कर पाएंगे. सो द बिल इट ऑल्सो does not have the details कि कैसे reserved seats को हम choose करने वाले हैं. तो यहाँ पे भी कोई ऐसा clarity नहीं है. This area also remains ambiguous. And sub reservation की बात, ऑलरेडी हम कर चुके हैं आज के लेक्चर में इन द वेरी बिगिनिंग। तो खालिस्तान का इशू बिटवीन इंडिया एंड कैनेडा, इट has been a problem since many years. During militancy in India also, we were having again the problems, changes with the changing governments. But again, ऐसा कोई permanent solution या effective solution अभी तक हम नहीं पहुंच पाए हैं, ऐसा कोई effective solution. यहाँ पे भी women reservation bill, so most often we are talking about this topic only. यहाँ India Canada relations में क्या problems हैं? Women reservation bill. And another important issue that we talked about today was the WHO report on hypertension. अजरबैजान ग्लोबल, अगर हम इश्यूज की बात करें, अजरबैजान आर्मेनिया के बीच में नगोर्नो काराबख रीजन के ऊपर जो वॉर चल रहा है, जो इशू है, यहाँ से हमारे लिए मैप इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है. And then we took up artificial intelligence का ethical usage. बीमा सुगम, ये कल हमने बात कर ली थी. It is going to be a platform जहाँ पे आपकी इंश्योरेंस से रिलेटेड जितने भी concerns, जितने भी problems, grievances है, you can get them addressed through this online platform. सो इंसॉल्वेंसी बैंक्रप्सी कोड के अराउंड हम बात करें तो एनसीएलटी का कहना ये है, विच इज द एडजुडिकेटिंग अथॉरिटी फॉर दीज केसेस ऑफ इंसॉल्वेंसी एंड बैंक्रप्सी. तो उन्होंने बोला है कि आईबीसी को आप एज अ रिकवरी टूल नहीं यूज कर सकते. इट इज नॉट फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ रिकवरिंग द लोन्स, इट इज फॉर रेजोल्यूशन और लिक्विडेटिंग. तो दो ही पॉसिबल सोल्यूशन हो सकते हैं टू द केसेस विच आर फाइल्ड अंडर दिस लॉ एट एनसीएलटी. या तो आप रेजोल्यूशन के लिए जा सकते हो या फिर आप लिक्विडेट कर सकते हो एसेट्स को सो एज टू रिकवर द मैक्सिमम अमाउंट ऑफ वैल्यू. बट आप रिकवरी के लिए इसको यूज नहीं कर सकते हो. फॉर दैट वी हैव डिफरेंट टूल्स अवेलेबल. So that's all for the day. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope आज जो हमने टॉपिक्स डिस्कस किए and जो भी possible dimensions हमने डिस्कस किए, they are clear to you. So do subscribe to the channel and keep watching.